think they should be able to go to Spago whenever they want?
What is Spago? Is that it's just a restaurant?
It's Wolfgang Puck's famous restaurant in Los Angeles.
I'm just saying, is this like a big price to not be able to ever go there again? Like how much?
Well, it was.
Is it commensurate with the crime here?
Yes, Spago was back in the day. I'm sure it's not anymore. Having Michael Eisner told that he couldn't go to Spago would be like the greatest shame in the world. Hello, everyone. This is JVL here with my best friend, Sarah Longwell, publisher of the Bulwark. Sarah, happy Friday. Big news from St. Larry.
Oh.
Are you ready?
Oh, this is going to hurt my heart.
Headline. Former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan steps down from No Labels board. So I read the first half of this headline and I think to myself, oh, that's good. That means Larry Hogan is cutting ties with them. Right? That's what it
like you should.
But then here's the rest of the headline. In a possible sign of a 2024 bid.
No.
And so as you read the story, it seems like Larry Hogan on December 15th, sent a letter in which he announced his resignation as co-chair, but offered, I'm just reading the AP, no criticism of the group, its plans, or leadership. He then declined to comment to the Associated Press when contacted. And we then have quotes from Joe Lieberman, talking about how great, here, let me find the Joe Lieberman line on this. Joe Lieberman called Larry Hogan a great partner and said, quote, whatever he does next, I know he will continue to be a powerful voice for common sense and national unity. And Lieberman also said that he would like to reach out to Governor Chris Christie to see if he's interested in being on a bipartisan No Labels unity ticket this year. So that's great. Do you have any thoughts about No Labels and Spago?
All right, Secret Pod, you guys are going to get some hot goss here, as the kids say, which is, yeah, I was scheduled yesterday to hold a public debate with Nancy Jacobson. They reached out to me.
The head of No Labels.
Yeah, the head of No Labels. So when I wrote a piece, after doing many focus groups where I asked people about third party, about a No Labels unity ticket and how that would impact their vote, and came away with what I could have told you without having done the focus groups, which is that the number one or the only group that really is appealed to by this sort of moderate centrist third party are exactly the kinds of people that I try to persuade to vote for Joe Biden, right? It is right-leaning independent, soft GOP voters who hate Donald Trump and will vote for Joe Biden. However, if you give them a third-party alternative that is closer to them ideologically, as a Larry Hogan or a Chris Christie certainly would be, they go for that person. And so what it does, and I will say this every day, all day, until people understand it, which is we are not building a pro-Joe Biden coalition. You are building an anti-Trump coalition. To win, to defeat Trump, you need an anti-Trump coalition that includes these sort of center-right voters, and that every piece of work that I do focuses on how to persuade them that Donald Trump and candidates like him in the Republican Party that are now replete through the party are too extreme to vote for, and that these Democratic candidates oftentimes who are, they are not the AOCs of the world, your Mark Kellys and your Joe Bidens, that these are perfectly acceptable alternatives in the face of the threat. Perfectly acceptable, frankly, somewhat optimal when it comes to what Democrats could be.
Thank you. I know that was just for me, and I just want you to know that I'm seen and I appreciate it.
Yeah. Look, and I wish Joe Biden was younger too. That is not the world we live in. I wish that he'd spent his first term building up a bench of successors that could have run, but that didn't happen either. So, do I have my disappointments? I sure do. But that doesn't mean that there is any way that you can suggest that Trump and Biden are similar, are equivalent, and those who do are peddling a pernicious narrative that normies hear as permission to not have to vote for Joe Biden. And instead, they get to vote for someone that makes them feel good, like Larry Hogan. And let me tell you what, nobody loves Larry Hogan more than I do, although I've got some concerns at this very moment. And so anyway, I wrote this piece saying that they should pull the plug because they didn't attract partisan Democrats, certainly don't attract partisan Republicans who are happy to vote for Trump. They just attract this like 5 to 9% of voters that we need as part of the anti-Trump coalition. So they called me up, Ryan Glancy, their guy who does like their, I don't know, ledge stuff. And he said, hey, you want to debate? He didn't say debate me, bro. He was like very nice. Like, hey, how would you be open to a public debate? And I said, yes, I would love to do a public debate, but I only want to do it with Nancy because she's the public face of this effort. And they agreed. And that was great. And we set a time and then we started pushing for, more details and, hey, how do you want to do this? Moderator, whatever. And the responses started getting slower and slower. The gaps in time was people responding. And I was told by many people.
It's like the bar fight. Hold me back, bro. Hold me back. Hold me back, bro. Right. Is that what this is?
I think so. And I was told by many people, oh, they'll never do it. They're going to back out. Like they don't keep any of their promises. And I was like, I don't know. I think they're going to do it. And then guess what happened?
What happened, Sarah?
So on our 2024 predictions next level podcast, when I was asked what are things that I'm afraid of, like that was the question on the table. I talked about these third-party threats. I talked about the need for this anti-Trump coalition.
I remember that. I was on that show.
You were on that show. And you went on one of your put these people on a Falcon Heavy rocket into the sun things and talked about how anybody associated with no labels should have their lives ruined and never get a table at Spago. And they heard that. Oh. And they pulled out of the debate saying that you were being despicable and anybody who said those kinds of things and associated with somebody who said those kinds of things, they would not be affiliated with. And I got to tell you, there was part of me that wanted to be like, you guys just don't know JVL. He says insane things like this all the time. And I always tell him he's wrong and bad and he shouldn't talk like that. And
you told me I was wrong and bad on shouldn't talk like that on that show.
Well, you were doing that. I was like, settle down here, killer. Like, no. And we were also like, Tim said something like, JVL, do you just want to play that clip in front of Nancy and Mark? Like that, they were joking. But not everybody is all familiar with the pitter patter of us. And I'm annoyed because I was making substantive criticisms. You were threatening their Spago reservation opportunities. And I got to say, I wrote back and I was like, listen, I got great news for you. You don't have to debate JVL. JVL won't be there. Just me. The one who was making the substantive criticisms and the one who told JVL, and I was like, yeah, his over-the-top comments, who told him to stop it in real time. But they were looking for an excuse. And you, jerkface, gave it to them. But now they're not going to debate. Cowards. And let me just tell you something about this idea of pulling out on the debate. These people want to run somebody for president. Like, they want to be in the big, bad mix of politics. And I'm sorry, but there are way meaner people than JVL in the world of politics.
Yeah, that may not be true.
Oh, do you have anything to say for yourself, JVL?
Yeah, I stand by all of it. I was thinking about this, and I mean, to be non-glib as a substantive matter, I stand by all of it.
Well,
because
you said they should have their lives ruined,
yes.
and I don't think that's right.
Yes. I do. And as I said, I specifically said, I do not mean violence visited upon them or anything like that.
It's bad when you have to clarify that, though, don't you think?
No. I mean, look, it's only bad because that's the world we live in, that you have to clarify it because, people are terrible. Here's what I mean by this. There are two ways that society regulates itself, and one is through laws and one is through morals and mores. And you can't legislate everything, right? You shouldn't have to pass a law saying that people shouldn't kill puppies for sport. right? Like you can't pass laws, like the Good Samaritan laws. Like, if you see somebody getting the crap beat out of them, you shouldn't stand there and just take video of it. Like you should go get help or something like that. And so if you're not going to legislate every single little thing that people should do in order to be good people and make society function, then you have to have shared civic norms which are enforced by shame. Shame is how we enforce communal morality. And I am sorry. I believe that Nancy Jacobson and the people who are affiliated with No Labels should be publicly shamed to society's utmost ability to do so. And I am sorry if they don't like this and if it makes them feel uncomfortable and judged. But I'm sorry. This is, this is like killing puppies for sport. They are going to go and do this thing that everybody knows is dangerous. And it's dangerous not for them. It's not like they're going out into a golf course in a thunderstorm and holding their 9-iron up or something where they're just risking their own lives. They're risking American democracy. They've been told this over and over, and they continue to go along on this path. And I just don't... I guess you could say, like, oh, this is just a sincere difference of opinion and judgment. I think it's beyond that. I understand that there are things in which you could say, well, that's just a difference in opinion and judgment. I don't think this is one of them. The idea that we're going to put Larry Hogan on the ticket so that he can get 4% in Pennsylvania and throw the election to Donald Trump is insane. It is insane to put a Larry Hogan on a national presidential ticket and think that he has any hope of winning a single state or anything else. It's impossible. And so I am not able to ascribe to them like, oh, it's just bad judgment, unless the alternative answer is that these people are all freaking morons. And maybe they are simply so stupid that they really believe these things to be true, in which case that's okay. So they're either incredibly stupid or bad people. Pick.
I think it's more the former. The
former is the stupid.
Yeah, and I'll just use. I think it is an error. I'm going to, instead of stupid, I'm going to say I think it is a catastrophic error in judgment that stems from what I think is actually quite a common problem of having no real sense of the voters. Like, No Labels is a creature of Washington, D.C., right, where they go to conferences with business folks. The people who fund them are the kinds of people who think, like, why shouldn't Jamie Dimon run for president? And, that is when you surround yourself, when you live in that bubble, it is easy, I think, to talk yourself into the idea that, of course, average Americans are not insanely tribal and mainly going to vote for one of the two major political parties. Now, just let me run you through what I think is, if you just take Larry Hogan, you say, okay, they have an actual candidate. And I'll also add, yesterday No Labels set up a PAC run by somebody I know, also a center-right Republican who hated Trump, a guy named Rob Stutzman, not a bad guy. And this is
no Spago for you, Rob. Sorry, Nancy. Are you triggered?
All right, take it easy. So so I think, like, and he's not a dumb guy. He's like a Republican operative. And I think that what they talk themselves into is this, especially when they talk about their insurance policy. They say, you know who's a lot more unpopular than Joe Biden, even in this moment?
Who's that?
Kamala Harris. And so I think they think, or they tell themselves, something happening to Joe Biden in the next 6 months is a real possibility. Some kind of a negative health event. Or he starts running against Trump and Trump's just annihilating him or something. And it can't be Kamala. And so if you can find a center-rightish but real purple and one of the things, so, like I said, I know Larry some, and one of the things he likes to talk about is how well he polls with not typical, with sort of like Dem voters, like black voters, women. And it's true. He was the second most popular governor in the country in terms of polling in his home state of Maryland, where people loved him. And they loved him for being, I mean, if you meet Larry Hogan's a great guy. He's the kind of guy who goes to the St. Patrick's Day parade and stops in the crowd to have a beer with the people on the side and loves to talk about football and has politics in his bones. His dad was one of the people who went and told Nixon it was all over and went after Nixon when he was breaking the law, despite being a Republican. Like, I think he's a good man. And that's where I think that it's a bad judgment call by being told by No Labels that there's a real path here. And to be fair, like, I went to him with this, 4 years ago. No, 2018. So, God, time is flying, right? And wanted him to run against Trump. And he considered it. He kind of did what he's doing right now, where he thought about it. And I was looking at polling and focus groups. And that's how I got started on half this stuff, to figure out if there was an audience, like if there was a real appetite. And the thing was, there wasn't.
Can I ask you a question here?
Yeah.
I am sorry. But to think that in 2018, as Republicans have just gotten absolutely shellacked in the midterm elections, for Larry Hogan to look at doing a one-on-one primary challenge against Donald Trump for 2020 and say, nope, there's no path for that. But then to look at a third-party run in 2024 and say, yeah, it could happen. That's insane.
Yeah, but I think
that's insane.
I know. And I agree with that. I'm saying what I think they talk themselves into is the hedge of something happening to Biden, or they think that if they run somebody popular, it's a complete misunderstanding of Democrats. Like, you think that the kinds of Democrats, the part of the party that's already dissatisfied with Joe Biden because of his support for Israel, and but will turn out because they hate Trump, you think they're going to go third party for Larry Hogan?
It's crazy.
They're not. They're not. And you know what else? There's like the amount of Republicans that are available for this. 10%. Hey guys, I know you want to hear more of this. You want more time with me and JVL, right?
So much more.
JVL's got more darkness to bring.
I want to tell people why we're all going to die. But to get that, they've got to pay.
Bulwark Plus, guys, go subscribe.